Good morning and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me and Juice Recruitment this morning for a question answer interview with Dave Crew from Weston College. So welcome, Dave. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me, Holly. It's good to be here.
No, thanks. So today we are sort of on the subject of here to help campaign for Juice Recruitment, and we are absolutely delighted and excited to be partnering with Weston College. So today we're going to be talking to you a little bit more about what the college is offering, and also how we're working in partnership to offer individuals like yourselves who are looking for work and job opportunities in our region. So Dave, tell me a bit more about your role at the college and what that involves.
Yeah, so I'm part of the senior management team at the college. My team are the business growth department, and we look at a lot at supporting businesses that have been affected by the pandemic and also local people as well, and looking at securing funding to provide initiatives just to make sure people get the support they need. In terms of the size of the college, it's one of the largest colleges in the UK with around 30,000 annual course enrolments. So my team effectively are there to steer that through what is a pretty tricky time for many people.
100%. And I was going to say about that actually, because I think, looking at our kind of, I guess, landscape right now in the sort of job market sort of place, it's difficult right now for people to find work. And the last 12 months have been really like any other. So I guess that kind of brings us on to sort of the question I have first really is, how has the college managed the challenges that the pandemic has given us over the last sort of 12 months, in 2020?
Yeah, well, I think there's two sides to that. One is how we operate as a business has had to change, and the other side is how we've had to support businesses and local people through this time. So, I mean, as a business, we had to basically convert the entire college online within 48 hours last March. So we decided to close the college ahead of the national lockdown, and with a student population the size of ours across the south of England, it was a bit of a challenge, but the team did rise to the challenge. And I think in the first week of lockdown in March, the staff at Weston delivered in excess of 4,000 online training sessions during the first week. And I think the way that we created that is we created a My Virtual College ethos to really get the students of all ages, by the way, not just school leavers. Last year we trained 9,000 adults to retrain, so it's a diverse student population, really embracing the online environment. Which was successful. In terms of supporting businesses, it's been a bumpy 12 months, hasn't it? So
it has. I think everyone has felt that, and I think we were in a good position at the end of last year, and I think coming into another lockdown in January, I think, has also sort of jaded us all a little bit. But I think it's fantastic the college has been offering these virtual kind of environments to continue with studies at all levels, like you say, which I think is really important, because we know that the biggest areas that have been affected have been that 16 to 24-year-olds, and then sort of the more mature students, I guess, maybe you class them. So as a specialist in the education sector, what would you say has been the biggest challenge moving into another lockdown in January, and then having still increasing restrictions that we're currently facing?
I think we've seen a minimal level of interruption to our operations, just because of the way that we embrace the online and engaging teaching and learning. I'd say the biggest, logistically, it's been tricky with social distancing, smaller class sizes. We've had to convert our hotel that we have on the seafront in Weston into a testing centre, and we've got a lateral flow testing at each site. So we've had to make sure we've got that capability. But I'd say the biggest concern that we probably have, and we've created a lot of support, is just on the mental health of staff and students. And I think that we created an online service called Let's Chat, which is looking at providing online support for people around sleep, anxiety, access to counsellors, because with the volume of people that we have within our business, I'd say actually that's the biggest concern. So we've managed to support as many people as we can.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think you touched on such an important part there about mental health and well-being. I think that's a huge area that all clients that we're talking to, the things that we've been doing at Juice Recruitment, and I think just generally across the board, people are trying to do for other individuals, whether it be employees or students in your case, because I think it's have a massive impact being in sort of a more isolated environment, trying to learn. And we always understand that schools as well are doing a lot of kind of virtual learning right now. So I think it is important to ensure that that support is there. And I think that's also ties in so nicely with our Here to Help campaign of wanting to support our local community more so, not just from a job point of view, but actually all round, to kind of help everyone kind of feel that uplift and move forward into 2021, which I think everyone is looking to do. So, you mentioned that the college is clearly diversified and it's adapted really successfully over a wide range of services that you're offering across that sort of broad mix of individuals. Can you tell us a bit more about how, in addition to maybe those services, it's diversified for its courses maybe?
I think what we've managed to do is create more online provision than we ever have before. I think the pandemic's forced that, but it's allowed us to be a lot more agile and offer shorter courses. So we've currently got a suite of courses that people can use as almost CV builders around leadership and management, digital skills, mental health awareness, and many more. The college actually offers in excess of 1,000 courses, so you could say there's something for everyone. Historically, we've always offered intensive skills coaching, because I think that when someone is looking for work, it can be a lonely place. And I think having a dedicated person at the end of the phone as a job coach, your own personal job coach, is quite powerful. So we've expanded that service to support people there. And the other thing we did in late November is I think at times, I don't know if people that are looking for a new job necessarily gravitate towards a college. I think they probably look at us as a training provider and a course option.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So to deal with that challenge, what we did is at the end of November, we created 30-minute free online careers coaching sessions via our website. Anyone can access the diaries of qualified careers advisors who can just have an informal conversation and guide people to where they want to be. And we've seen people on furlough, people looking at maybe working in industries where that's perhaps not as secure as it was, such as hospitality and retail, people that have been unemployed for long periods, and they're just accessing a friend at the end of the phone that's just signposted them to give them something, to an action plan that they can actually use the time while they are looking for work. So we've actually seen over 250 people come through that since the end of November. So we're going to expand that and keep it going.
That's fantastic. I think it really kind of hits home. We talk to candidates, I guess, maybe from the other side of things, where people are looking for that job. They are maybe feeling either they've got lack of security in their current role, or they've been made redundant, or they're on furlough and they feel like maybe they're looking for a career change. And I think actually the first thing most people probably do is probably hit the job boards and sort of speak to recruiters maybe, but actually I think a big part of that is maybe sort of upskilling, reskilling, looking at alternative options that these people have, and coming to the college is a great way to have that kind of open, informal chat to understand maybe what their options are, which is fantastic. Now you've also had to find new ways of teaching, haven't you, as well at the college? You mentioned a lot about the virtual platforms that you're using to help students learn online, but you've also expanded your digital delivery. So tell us more about the launch of your virtual classrooms. I think this is really exciting.
Yeah, so we're a Microsoft Showcase college already. So we embraced the digital learning back in 2017. But recently we've decided to take that step further, because I actually think that online learning, to a certain extent, is probably part of the future of training. In a blended way, I think, because that's not for everyone. So there needs to be a balance there for people. So we recently invested in the UK's first virtual classroom, where a teacher can stand in a room, or a trainer, and they can access 26 students on screens. And what that does allow, which is something that Teams doesn't allow, is practical demonstrations. So we could have doctors training on medical procedures to our healthcare students. We can have manufacturing engineers in the aerospace sector, teaching students live streaming from a machine how to build parts of an aircraft wing. So it's really just allowed us to take that step further, really, and have interaction, but also create that environment where people can practically learn. In the other example is actually hospitality and baking and things like that. It's a great way to
lost in kind of that normal virtual sort of environment, I guess, it's kind of almost like being in a classroom, right? So you can actually feel like you're there with other students, you're learning on real time. And like you say, it can be more practical as well, which is great. It's not just someone talking at you, you know, for a sort of a lecture or whichever they might be undertaking, which I think is fantastic. And what's the future for kind of the virtual classrooms? Is it something that, you know, the college is looking to expand on moving forward into 2021?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something that we're looking to embrace, because it just allows a different dimension to online learning, because I think we should never forget that actually teaching or actually learning through a screen can actually be quite intense. And I know a lot of parents are finding that through homeschooling and interacting, business people in business room meetings, etc. So it just allows a different dimension. So I think that it's something we're going to embrace, but also I am mindful of the fact that actually sometimes, hopefully when we come through the pandemic, a lot of people are very more comfortable actually being in a physical classroom because of the social aspect, and we don't want to lose that. And I think it's finding a business model that goes forward, which is fully inclusive, because our college is built on inclusive practice.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, as an agency, we've seen, you know, job applications triple over the sort of last year or so across all our divisions, and we know that candidates are really wanting more support and more advice with their job searches and career prospects. So we encourage always to kind of, you know, our candidates to think outside the box. It sounds like very much the college is doing that with their virtual classrooms and other things that you're offering. But when considering sort of career changes and working with those candidates to support them with their sort of CVs and outlining skills and experience, that's what we're great at doing. But what can the college offer alongside this to allow candidates to really understand their career options?
So I think accessing the qualified careers advisors, looking at the course options and the fund, and also the funding available to support. Often, if someone is unemployed, claiming universal credit, or even if they're maybe currently working part-time and earning less than 18,000 a year, then they can actually access fully funded training, and not a lot of people know that. So I think that using this as an opportunity, as challenging as it is, I think using it as an opportunity to perhaps stop and think, because I think when you are searching for a role, it's quite easy to get caught in a cycle of applications over applications. And we actually have seen a lot of people come to us looking at career changing, because we're seeing a lot of people maybe navigate towards the NHS or management skills or digital technology, and using that time to really look at what skills they have in their own toolbox. And how they can access that. And also what we are seeing is those that do secure jobs, they're still going on with that, updating their own skill set. So yes, stop and think, speak to the people that are there to help and at the end of the phone, and look at how you can go forward for the future.
Yeah, I think that is it. I think people are taking a bit more time now, and this is what I've been talking a lot about through my Instagram lives, about, you know, having a look at that long-term plan. You're not just thinking about tomorrow or next month or the next couple of months, because let's face it, we're probably going to be in some form of restrictions for quite a while longer yet, despite, you know, the great news about the vaccine. But I think that is about thinking long-term, thinking about the future, thinking about how are my decisions now going to impact me moving into my future. I think that is what is great about what the college is offering, is the fact that you can talk to people at the college, have those conversations, work out actually, if you want to be X, Y, and Z in 3 or 4 years' time, where do I start? What do I need to do to start with? And I think that's really key right now for people who maybe are working industries that, you know, hospitality we've talked about today, leisure industries, these are the hardest hit areas. But actually those people have great skills, but it's maybe just finding a little bit more of a focus of where to take those skills. And that could really change their outlook, you know, in the coming years, which I think is exciting for those individuals. So we've talked a little bit about your free careers advice service, which I think will really complement what we're doing here at Juice Recruitment. You know, how can people get in touch, and tell us a little bit more about kind of the team that are working behind the scenes, speaking to those individuals, and kind of what that process involves if you were someone wanting to get in touch?
So we've made the process to get in touch very easy. So if anyone visits the website, which is western.ac.uk, it's on the homepage. It's the first thing that you look at when your eyes hit the page. When you go onto that, you can actually click and select a time, and you've got access to the careers coaches diaries directly. So we've opened up their calendars online. Find a time that suits you. If there's not a time, in the ring and they'll book something in. And we've got 30-minute slots throughout every day, and they're ongoing. So there's plenty of availability. In terms of the team itself, all from industry. We do pride ourselves on recruiting staff, trainers and careers guidance people from industry. So we've got ex-contact centre trainers, ex-office managers, a real diverse mix of people from the healthcare industry as well. And so they come from industry, but they've navigated towards working for us because obviously they want to support people and effectively give something back as part of their job. I should say as well that as a college, we're also expanding and looking for great people that have industry experience to join as teachers. So, you know, we pride ourselves on taking people directly from industry and converting their skill set into being outstanding, inspirational teachers. So there's plenty of options there, but it's very easy to get in touch and receive that support.
I think it's really valuable that you've got people who are industry and have that industry knowledge really, you know, at the end of the phone, because I think when, you know, you're talking to candidates about specific career options, you really want to understand as an individual, you know, is this person telling me something that I just need to hear, or is this actually coming from their own experience and understanding of that market? I think that makes a huge difference. So I think that's a really valuable sort of area to kind of focus on and ensure that people understand that when they get in touch, they'll really be speaking to someone who understands maybe that sort of area, that market, what they're looking to get into, and what courses are really going to help them long term, I think, which is fantastic. So, you know, we touched a little bit on schools earlier, and actually here at Juice, we've also been doing a lot of work with some local schools, really to help students think about positively about how they're going to be looking at their future after their GCSEs. Now, we know that a lot of school leavers are going to be sort of facing, again, another different sort of year of you know, their last year of school, really, so maybe not taking their exams and, you know, being out in that world already to kind of maybe find a job if they decide to take that route. So here we're doing as much as we can to support them and give advice against sort of CV writing, tips and hints on kind of interviews and kind of where to focus their career. But Weston College, I know, ran a campaign at the end of last year called What's Next, and that was specifically sort of aimed at school leavers. Are you looking to run something similar again this year to support students leaving school?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the ethos of the college is to focus on careers, not just courses. And by doing the What's Next initiative, which involved last summer, it involved bringing nurses, physiotherapists, people from business, entrepreneurs, just to record short online interviews, which are all accessible on our website as well. So what we want to do is create almost a free resource for our local school partners in the west of England and in Somerset. So we'll absolutely continue doing that. Of course, in normal times, we would have events and open evenings. So we've had to just convert that to be doing online Facebook Live sessions, interviews for 15 minutes. And we've seen a great response from parents, actually, who, of course, have a key interest in what their child is going to do when they're at such a critical stage in their lives. Virtual campus tours, interviews with tutors and employers, and I shouldn't forget the next week is National Apprenticeship Week as well. So we will be celebrating the apprenticeship agenda, which is huge because we've got over 2,000 apprentices that study with us in over 50 different trades. And that's a great option for us as well. But we're also highlighting those programs that perhaps aren't as widely known, such as traineeships. Which basically are an option for young people if their apprenticeship isn't available, or maybe they're not quite ready or sure what they want to do. They can do a voluntary training program with us. And speaking from personal experience, I hired an apprentice in September, and she came from a traineeship program, and she's been very impressive.
That's fantastic. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think, you know, school leavers need to understand there's so many options out there for them. It's not just, you know, necessarily look at a job and that'll be your career for life. We know that people generally have a number of different careers, but actually getting up on the right footing is really important. But it sounds like there's so much advice, and it's great that there's so much online and different ways of accessing that information to reach out to the college and different courses, whether it be apprenticeships or traineeships. I think, you know, people need to get in touch and understand a bit more from you guys what they can do for their future, which is fantastic. as an agency, we've also been in the market for a long time. You know that obviously Weston College is over 150 years old, I think it is, the college, which is astounding. But we really want to give back to our local communities, and during especially these sort of more challenging times, which I think is definitely what we're hearing from you today, Dave, about what the college is doing also. Really keen to support people wanting to reach their career potentials, and think about sort of upskilling overall. What would be your final words to people watching today about thinking, if they're looking for a new career or improving their skill set?
Final word I would say is reach out and make the most of what's available for you, because it's only one click away. And actually that one click can potentially be life-changing. And to give you a specific example, when we launched the careers coaching sessions, we put the website live at 11:38 a.m. on the first day. At 12 p.m. Someone came through, clicked a button. At 1 p.m. they had an action plan with the careers coach, and by 2 p.m. they booked on a trainee nurse course, so they actually started to be a nurse in training from this month. So actually within that 2-hour period, or 2.5 hours, that person's life changed because they clicked the button.
It just shows how powerful the service that you're offering can be, and I think with us partnering together, we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I definitely think that. So thank you so much, Dave, for joining us today. It's been a delight to talk to you and hear more about what the college is doing. If you found today useful, then please visit our website, visit Weston College's website. You can get in contact with me personally or one of the branches here at Juice Recruitment. We'll be happy to tell you a bit more about these services that we're both offering, and hopefully you'll join us next time. Thank you so much.